The following program contains violence, disturbing imagery, nudity, and, oh my God, why are you even watching this? Just run away. This shit is going to give you nightmares. For real. Nightmares where you are running naked on a treadmill made of razor blades, and your third grade teacher is pointing and laughing at you. And even if you survive the treadmill with your feet intact, she is going to tell you that you flunked the third grade, which negates all the rest of your achievements. The program is rated TV MA NSFW OMFG GAF TTV BYGAS. It is unsafe for epileptics. It kills lab rats. Why are you still here? This show came out of the dark recesses of a coked-up guy's mind who has just been given too much privilege and access and now just takes a depraved delight in disturbing and scaring you. In fact, if we're being totally honest here, the original creator never expected a third season pickup, so now he's just trying to think of creative ways to kill the characters off. Seriously, don't watch this. We can't warn you strongly enough. Do you need a doctor of some kind? What is the matter with you?
Oh, yeah. Started off with a little bit of Tales of the Indigo Monkey, one of the tracks that we did here in the house between myself, the witch, and it was just one of those little fun little things that we put together and just figured it was a cool way to start the show. I am the Wolf. Tonight's episode 102, Thru Otivia's Eyes. Those of you in the chat will see Otivia Fantagrossi. She'll be joining us live in a few minutes. As always, want to start it off and get all the gobbledygooky stuff out of the way. The thoughts, views, expressions, language, thoughts, insanity, and thereof is mine and mine alone, unless it's Otivia's or Shaya's or somebody else's. Take what you need, leave the rest behind. If you're easily triggered, this is your warning. As the opening segment said, my sister is going to cut loose, and I'm glad to let her. We've had a lot of really great conversations over the past year. She has some great viewpoints, some great, really great perspectives on things. And she's not afraid to vocalize them. And, it's important these days, whether you agree or not, to have different perspectives and things that are framed a little bit more in reality versus just some fucking rhetoric. And we're going to see how many F-bombs we can get her to drop tonight. I want to shout out everybody out there, friends, family. I see Jesse Molly. I see Amy Marie. I see Ivo Fur. Hello. Thank you for liking us. If you're thinking this is one of Shaya's Tara things, no. Tonight's not that night. But I do have her here with us, and she's going to tell us a little bit not only about a new show that she's got starting Thursdays on Rochester Free Radio, but some of the stuff that she's going on with Mythic Treasures, and she's going to be part of the conversation as well. It's important, especially during what is now referred to as International Women's Month, to have female perspectives. I was originally going to dip out on this, but Otivia is like, no, I need a man's perspective. So, I'm probably going to be the emotional punching bag tonight, but that's okay. I'll take one for the team. I can see Shaya's looking at me with that.
I was just going to say, we like it when men stand up for us. We like it when men encourage us to have our voice and our allies for those of us of the sisterhood.
Well, I'm going to try and do my part, as they say. Why don't you just jump right in and just, tell us a little bit about the show coming up, Mythic Treasures, all the groovy stuff that's happening out here in Rochester, New York.
Well, I'm really excited about my Thursday from 1 to 3 show on Rochester Free Radio, 106.3 FM here in Rochester. And you guys can listen in at rochesterfreeradio.com. Just click on the Listen Now thing and go to the player. Listen away. Worldwide, we have listeners everywhere. And my show is going to be called Through the Veil, and we're going to be peeking behind the curtain at all the different little things that whatever my brain decides to jump on that week, we're going to get the real story, behind that veil.
Can we safely assume there's going to be a lot of
emotional damage?
Hopefully we'll be healing from emotional damage, but if you're triggered easy, that might not be the show for you.
All right, so sometimes it's going to be...
Yes, but without the FCC bombs.
Oh, that's right. You guys can't see. We can do this shit here. That's one of the reasons.
Yes.
And Brian Judah, who's Otivia's significant other, he and I have been kind of joking back and forth because Otivia's really wanted to come out here to be able to talk freely and openly about some of the things that she feels and some of the things that she's experienced and seen. And we've all done radio shows on WRFC, and it can be, and I can attest to this, sometimes a little limiting and frustrating because the FCC says, don't say this, don't say that, fuck you, fuck this. And as soon as you cross that line, it's just like the world ends. But
well, I like the word that you guys came up with between you and Tony last night, frigate.
Yes, last night was a lot of frigate.
Frigate, lots of frigate.
So also tell us about Mythic Treasures.
Oh my gosh, yes. So every month, second Saturday of every month, Mystical Gateways Fair at Mythic Treasures in Henrietta here in upstate Western New York. I'll tell you, Sue's been putting that together for years. She does not even charge the vendors to come there. She is, out of the goodness of her heart, wanting to spread the love, share the love. So come out and see all the different cool vendors that are there. Tarot readers such as myself. I read tarot and give away free readings every time. And then, of course, third Saturday, which is going to be this coming Saturday, I do from 2 to 4 a meditation class and a guided meditation. Well, we do the meditation class and then we do a guided meditation afterwards. And so this month is going to be about learning how to ground, seal, center, and shield. And then our guided meditation is going to be about meeting your spirit guides.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And that's just one of a lot of things. I mean, pretty much every weekend over there, she's putting on free events for the community from a variety of different angles, be it astrology, be it Reiki, be it Tara, be it just, hey, let's get together, meet some people who maybe share some common ideas. And she's been doing this for a number of years here in Rochester.
Yeah. And even if you have something that you want to teach and you're up here in this area and you're willing to offer a free class, let her know. She'll give you the space for free. Let's come up with a time and date and come on in and share the love, share your magic, share what you're wanting to teach as well.
Yeah. And this is just another layer of the shows. You have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights. You have Dancing with the Witches tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel. She will be doing the free tarot and
What the fuck Wednesday? Because
Yes.
I can say fuck tonight.
yes, you can get away with it tonight.
Yes.
Absolutely. So again, much love to everybody out there. A lot of people who have been supporting this through the years now. This is going into the third year of the podcast. 102 episodes. I've taken a couple of breaks along the way because I can't always get my head around it, but it has been something that really was born out of your lives back
Yes.
when we first got together and has now expanded and grown into a whole variety of different programs. I want to shout out my brother, Ed Contini. He's got a show Thursdays on WRFZ, Over the Edge. It'll be right after Shia's show, 3 to 5 p.m. We also have a show between myself, Ed Contini, and Brian Judah on Friday mornings, 9 a.m. to noon, called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I am the ugly. And then Judah's also, he's got Rock the Rock Sundays, 12 to 3, and he's got Vintage Strings Tuesday, a little bit before we do the podcast. I think it's around 3 p.m. that he runs it. But you can go to rochesterfreeradio.com. You can check out the schedule, see all the different cool programming. There's a lot of great people over there. So I am going to play a track from one of the people up here that I know has been an influence, not only at the radio station, but within the music and within teaching and women's right. Deb Magoni, sister, if you're listening out there, this is one of yours. Again, I try and tag people when I do the social media stuff because I believe it's important to give people the exposure, give them the credit and due. And also to be absolutely blunt, because of the way it is out here in social media, I can only use music that I've been given rights to use. So Deb has generously allowed us to play her music. So we're going to...
She sounds awesome too.
Oh, she's a great singer. And, you know, we had her on the podcast not that long ago. And, you know, she very well spoken, very strong belief system, and very open, very honest in the reasons why she does it. Because it's important. You know what I mean? Anybody can, you know, talk the talk, but walking the walk is not always the easiest thing. And she makes it a point to walk the walk. So this is going to be one of her tracks. And then with any luck, if the technology holds up, going to have Sister Otivia with us live. And then we're going to start ripping the Band-Aids off. So sit back and enjoy a little bit of It's All About the Money. And then we'll be back live.
It's all about money. nowhere to hide. They say it's the land of the free, but honey, guess what? They just lie. They steal your money and live like kings to feed their walls and steal more things. How much more love do they need? It's all about money. It's all about greed. They don't care where you're from, where you're going. They don't care what you need. It's all about money. It's all about greed. They don't care where you're from, where you're going. They don't care what you need. Work all day, work all night. Sometimes you can't help feeling, honey, what you're doing, it just ain't right. No time for fun, too tight for love. Then the taxman takes your pay and you just had enough. They steal your money and live like kings to feed their walls and steal things. How much more blood do they need? It's all about money. It's all about greed. They don't care where you're from, where you're going. They don't care what you need. It's all about money. It's all about greed. They don't care where you're from, where you're going. They don't care what you need. Money, 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 money.
All right, so we're back live. I've got my sister
Hello.
Otivia. Yes, here she is.
Hey,
live.
I'm here. Hello, hello,
No
everybody.
fucks. Go ahead, give your first fuck out there.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck that shit.
Yes.
Fuck that shit. Fuck it all.
Tuesday
Fuck
fun
'em all.
day. Tuesday fun
Yes.
day.
Tuesday fun day.
So this little
Tuesday truth day.
Tuesday
How about that?
Truth Day. Yeah, no. even
Tuesday
better.
truth day.
So
Yes.
this was born. You had an episode, and we're not going to throw anybody under the bus by name, but you had an incident where you had heard something on air that somebody
Yes.
had put out there that was, to put it politely, really slanted. It was based out of misinformation, and it was based out of a personal context, and you took offense to it. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think there's any way to put it. You were on fucking fire when we started talking about it on Sunday when I had seen you, and you felt very strongly that, this needs to be corrected. Now, again, obviously, certain things we can't say on FM radio, which is why the podcast is a beautiful place, because they can't do anything. They can't say anything. They have no reach into this. So this
Right.
is, as we say, your opportunity to set the record straight. And again, as promoted, the first real section of this is going to be centered around Planned Parenthood and
Yes.
women's reproductive rights.
Right. Exactly.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what set you up, again, without going into the specifics of where you heard it, but really what it is that really, again, spoke to you on this.
Well, I heard it on a radio station. They were talking about Planned Parenthood, and they were totally talking shit about Planned Parenthood because these people are which is fine, very religious person. And they were talking and they were giving out wrongful information regarding what Planned Parenthood actually does. And it pissed me the fuck off.
I think that's putting it lightly.
Number one. Number one, because why it pissed me off is because number one, this person was a man. Don't get me wrong. I love men. Men are amazing. And there's a lot of really good men out there. But there are a lot of real assholes out there too that they just regurgitate what they hear. And no disrespect, but disrespect. If you do not have a vagina, shut the fuck up.
Thank you. I listen, I've been saying that for years. It was something my mother installed in me. We don't really have any right to tell women how to handle these. Now, obviously, everybody has their own morality structure, and we're not talking about the morality of things. We're just talking about the basic black and white facts of what certain things are and what they represent to other people like yourself and Shia and others.
Right. So facts are facts, okay? You do research, you look things up. What this person, I feel, was doing was regurgitating shit that they heard from other places and never really did any factual checks. Because if they did factual checks regarding Planned Parenthood, they would see Planned Parenthood is not just about abortions. Because that was what this person was pushing, was the fact that Planned Parenthood, they are pro-abortion, and that's all they do.
I mean, a lot of the rights tries to put it out there that Planned Parenthood is itself an abortion clinic. Is that the case,
It's
OT?
not the case. No. They do not do the abortions themselves. They don't.
So what they do really is they advise and they provide information and sometimes support services, because I also am doing my research. They also provide the same support services for men for vasectomies or for STD, sexually transmitted disease, birth control, all kinds of things.
And pregnancy.
Yes.
Pregnancy. And they also help with family planning as well.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing.
Yes, they provide all kinds of services. And I know this to be true because as a young girl, when I was young, I didn't have the resources to go and have my exam and talk about, pregnancy or talk about STs or any of that stuff. So I had my exams done there when I didn't have the money or the insurance to do so. And I have a family member as well that utilized them for her own reproductive issues and for her medical exams, her pap smears and my pap smears and everybody's, women's productive issues, women's productive period, and periods. Yes, they talked about periods too, and menstruation and menopause. Yes. They even talk about menopause, and they talk about ED as well. So they talk about not just women's stuff, but they talk about men too. They involve the men as well.
Now, see, there's a misperception out there that if you walk into a Planned Parenthood, they're going to push a particular narrative.
No, they do not push a particular narrative, but I do know of one company, or actually two, that do push their narrative, which, fine, but if you're going to push a narrative, you better have the facts straight instead of trying to scare people into having a child that is not viable, or the mother is in danger of losing her own life.
Mm-hmm.
There's reasons for abortion.
Right, rape and incest. And that
incest. Right.
And those were some of the caveats originally when it was first put into the books, by the way, by Richard Nixon.
Yes.
As a safety net.
Who was a Republican.
Right. Same guy who created the EPA.
Yes.
But we've lost our way along the way. And this is not to, again, begrudge certain things. There is a morality context, and this is not about the morality of it. This is about the simple dynamic of information, choices, and then access to it. Because I know some people, who have used Planned Parenthood simply to just get access to prenatal vitamins because they couldn't afford a primary physician.
I will
Birth
say
control.
on the
Birth control.
morality, yes, birth control. But on the morality side of it, I'd like to say simply, your religion and your belief structures keep you from doing what your religion and your belief structures say you should not do, not keeping me from doing what my religion and my belief structures allow me to do.
Right. So you believe in what you want. That's perfect. That's great. That's what this world should be about. Everybody should have the right to believe in what they want to, but they don't have the fucking right to push their stuff onto me, their belief system. If I was told I was going to go to hell if I don't believe in this, or if I don't believe in God, or if I don't, okay, you know what? I can't fucking go where I don't believe, number one, because I don't believe, my own personal opinion is there is no heaven, there's no hell. I was brought up and raised in a very devout Catholic church. I had an amazing time in the convent with my aunt. She was a mother superior. You know what? It was a beautiful environment for me growing up from the age of 4 to 8. But anyway, so I'm not knocking that. What I'm knocking is people using or misusing their religious beliefs to control other people.
And that's what it comes
under
down
the name
to,
of
control.
God.
Yeah.
Under the name of whatever God or whatever entity or whatever they believe in.
Well, it also reflects the simple dynamic of freedom of choice. People have the right to choose what they listen to, what they watch on TV, what books they read. We have a Second Amendment, which allows people the right to bear arms, even though a lot of us aren't really comfortable with it. But, okay, we allow it. We allow all these other things. But unfortunately, when it comes to women's rights, that all of a sudden, becomes this taboo thing. It becomes a morality thing. I wanted to throw something up on the screen because I think it is an important thing to keep in mind. When people spin the rhetoric about the quality of life. Okay. And this was from 2023. This was from January to October 2023. United States, 518 mass shootings. Okay. In that time period, over 35,000 people killed. Okay. Over 1,100 of them being young people, and 246 of them were children. And this is just one segment. This is just one piece. These are gun-related deaths. It's not getting into drunk driving or any number of other analogies. So we talk about the sanctity of life when it comes to abortion, but then we'll run out and we'll drop bombs on some people, or, we'll run people down when we're fucking drunk. Or we'll go shoot people because, well, you looked at me wrong or you said something. So this double standard, and it's cherry picking to say.
That's why I don't believe that the pro-lifers should be called pro-lifers, because they're not pro-life, they're pro-birth.
Pro-births. They want women to forcibly have a baby. They don't care about after the child. They don't want to take care of the child. They just want to make sure that they increase the population. Now,
we don't need our population increased anymore. We're going under water crisis right now. Like Mexico's going to be out of water in a few weeks.
Okay. So here's my thing, right? So like I said, I did some research because I do that on other programs. Okay. So there's the Right to Life program. They're pro-life, they're right to life, pro-birth, pro-birth, everything. And I did some research, I compared it to the Planned Parenthood website as well in the research. And oh my goodness, I can't, wow.
It's dancing in the mouth of insanity.
What the fuck?
It's completely polarized.
Because it totally is. Okay, so you have the right to life, and it's under religious connotations. Everything's religious, pretty much. This person named Stephen, let me get my notes here, went to China, okay, and was appalled. His name was Stephen Meisner from Right to Life. He considers because they supposedly force. He was worried about women's rights. He was worried about they're being forced to have abortions because of their law in China that they can only have one child. This is what I'm looking at, and I'm going, okay. So he was appalled of the traumatic forced abortions in China. But who gives a rat's ass about women that are having traumatic forced births?
Well, there's
Here.
a law right now, in certain
Right.
states, my home state being one of them, that even if your child is no longer viable in your womb, and you have a
Yes.
baby has lost the heartbeat, they
Yep.
will make you force
Yes.
carry to term
Yes.
and
So-
birth a dead child.
So what, they're talking about trauma here. What about the trauma of the mother who has to give birth to a child that is no longer viable and is no longer alive? You think that there's not trauma there? Not only the physical trauma, but the trauma that she has to live with, that she has to see her dead child being born, knowing that child is dead. That's not traumatic at all, is it? Not at all.
I met a beautiful woman recently in Texas when I was there and did a reading for her, and we were talking, and she said that, she has lost two children, one at 9 years of age, one at 6 years of age, due to a genetic disability that comes through their family, and it's very rare when it comes up, but two of her children had it because both of the parents were carriers. Since then, she has remarried and has a new partner, but her partner's not a carrier, but she still is. She's afraid. She would like to have more children, but she's afraid to conceive, because if she conceives and then has the test to find out that this child has that genetic disability again, that is 100% fatal, she can't terminate pregnancy rather than go through an entire life of hell until that child finally dies.
Right. So this makes no sense. So this Right to Life program, right? I'm looking at all the stuff, and what really caught me was they support the legal protection of the unborn. There's nothing in there that mentions anything about protecting the legal and supporting the legal protection of the unborn and the mother or a woman. It simply states support legal protection of the unborn.
Well, I mean,
fuck the mother.
We already know, and I think most of us who have, as you have said, done the research, looked at it, and experienced it, it's semantical. It really isn't about anything more than the control mechanism. It is the forcing of a morality, a concept that some people have regarding how women should be allowed to deal with things like pregnancy, okay? Or, other analogies, as you mentioned, be it birth control, be it, screening, be it support, because a lot of women who go to full term use Planned Parenthood for those support analogies because they simply cannot afford a blown out healthcare system. That was part of the reason that Planned Parenthood was started back in the day, was to support those who needed it and didn't have access to viable healthcare, and especially the things they needed to be able to actually carry a baby to term correctly without, complications or worse, ending up in, death of mother and child.
Right. And so when I heard this particular person speaking about Planned Parenthood on this particular radio show, I'm thinking, hey, you have no idea what Planned Parenthood does. And the thing is, Planned Parenthood has it all on their website. Everything. They explain what STDs are. They explain what gender identity is. They explain sexual orientation and birth control. They explain about, they give little excerpts about this and then, schedule an appointment to come in. They explain the facts about abortion. Okay.
But they don't do it with any kind of morality bent.
No,
They
not
simply
at all.
present the options.
No. Right. So this other site, which I'm very familiar with, the Right to Life, because back when I was young and very impressionable, I grew up, again, in a very devout Catholic, not knocking Catholics, because I lived through that, and I understand it. And people, if it works for you, it works for you, great. But again, don't force it down on me, because I've been through it. It does not work for me. But I've had family members that were totally devout with the Right to Life. And the stuff that I've seen and the stuff that I've heard, I now look back and go, holy cow, how I was indoctrinated into that.
Well, let me start off by saying for me, Shia here, I very much believe in the sanctity of life. Okay. I am a devotee of the goddess. She is the maiden,
Yes.
she is the mother, she is the crone. We are
Yes.
very nurturing and we believe in carrying on life and protecting life and things of that nature.
Yes.
However, I
Yes.
will say I am pro-choice. Even if I disagree with somebody getting an abortion, I believe in a
Yes.
person's right to choose that if they
Me
would
too.
so desire.
But the narrative,
Me too.
the narrative isn't just about abortion. It's about birth control. It's about education. It's
Yes.
about support.
Yes.
I mean, again, for most men, we don't know the first place to begin, and if we're lucky enough to have a primary physician, maybe we'll have a conversation about them if we want to get a vasectomy, or
Right.
if we did something stupid and, ended up, our dicks were someplace it wasn't supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, oh, wow, we got a funky disease now. And
You came home with a bunch of crabby critters.
It came with the crabby critters
Right.
and whatever.
this isn't just,
No.
polarized to the degree that it's all about abortion, because it isn't
Well-
just about abortion.
No, it's about everything else that matters in a person's life, health-wise.
Back in 1998, I was a young married woman and got pregnant. And we were kind of not necessarily on the higher income scale, as a paycheck to paycheck situation with mine and my late husband. And I was like, wow, I'm really excited about this, but what do I do? I went into Planned Parenthood and the A word never even came up. They said, is this a wanted child? And I said, yes, it is. I walked out that door with prenatal vitamins, a health card for my unborn baby, signed up for Medicaid, and had all of my medical everything taken care of.
Right.
All the way up to the point where I had a miscarriage. When I had a miscarriage, they made sure I got a D&C, made sure I was on birth control to get my cycles regulated, and made sure I, as a woman, were taken care of and healthy enough to hopefully potentially have a child in the future.
Right.
They were
and
great.
When I went there, they were great too, because I needed exams and things like that, and birth control. And later down the road, when I was married, got married, and was pregnant with my first child, I needed to talk to somebody. And they gave me a lot of information. And again, me too, they helped me out as well. So what I guess I'm trying to get at is I really wish people would stop this bullshit about Planned Parenthood, because it's not all about, oh, here, you need an abortion. It's not like they're selling abortions out, Here, this is what they're doing. They're not saying, oh, you need to have an abortion.
They provide
saying that.
assistance without judgment.
Yes, totally without judgment, and they provide services.
Look, we're in a society where anything reproductive right or sexual discussion has to be somehow massively polarized. And this is one place that people can go where it is not polarized, is acceptable to sit in there and have the conversation for what you need and learn. And as Estelle just mentioned, it's about education. Education makes for good choices.
And I also looked, in Planned Parenthood, 1 out of 4 women in the United States, just the United States at this point, the statistics, have an abortion because of a health or safety reason. 1 out of 4.
And very few women actually use it like the mainstream media wants us to believe that.
Right.
Oh,
They
women are
don't
just
just
going around being promiscuous and having sex everywhere. And, oh, oops, I got pregnant. Let me go and abort the child.
Right. How about it's not that way. However, now if you think about the statistics too, and think about it, a woman can get pregnant once every 9 months, right?
Providing she carries to term, yes.
Right. A man, however, can go and impregnate like 100 women.
They can still do it when they're 90, and we can't anymore.
Right.
Well, if they can get it up, that is.
Right. So one woman gets pregnant every 9 months. You can only get pregnant once in 9 months. A man can impregnate 9 women in 1 month if he wanted to.
He could impregnate 9 women in 1 day if he was.
So,
hold on, wait a
so
minute.
explain to me where the issue is with pregnancy when the man has to get with the woman to get her pregnant.
Right.
No.
It's not like we're running around.
The term, well, she got herself pregnant.
I would empathize more with some of these quote unquote pro-lifers if they were really actively going after the parental support that's necessary from the fathers and everything else, and helping support the kids after they were born.
If they were so worried about life, how about this? How about a boy turns a certain age, when he hits puberty? How about a vasectomy?
You know what? For that matter,
one that's a reversible, because they're reversible, until he is old enough and he is responsible enough to take care of said children that he plants the seed.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well,
how about not providing insurance for fucking Viagra for a 90-year-old man so he can stick his dick in a young woman and get her pregnant? How about that?
Well, listen, we know all the pregnancies out there are immaculate conceptions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's right.
But you're right.
Anyways,
it isn't like it isn't like women are just waking up in the morning and all of a sudden they're pregnant. It takes 2 to dance.
Oh. Yeah, the angel didn't come and impregnate me twice. That I do know.
How about
it was not an angel?
How about this
neither one of them?
I like this one. How about this? How about everybody who wants to go down as pro-life needs to be out there and registering to be able to take in foster children?
I like that idea too. As soon as the children is born, there's one for you. There's one for you. There's one for you. You can adopt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're the same. They're the same people that are screaming that there's no money to pay for this. They don't want to give school lunches.
I know.
They don't want to do anything.
They don't care. They are. This is my theory. Because I was looking at the statistics too. Okay, so they're so worried about the population dropping. They're worried about the population dropping. They're saying that it's literally, at least this person, this Steve Mosier, so worried about, this kind of stuff. I'm like, wait a minute. He says it's considered overpopulation hysteria.
Well, considering we have over 8 billion people on this frickin' planet and we're utilizing our natural resources at alarming, crazy rates, I think we could use a little bit of a Thanos snap right about now.
Yes. Right.
Well, listen, take a stroll down, any particular dark alley in Calcutta and ask them how it's working out for them with, this imaginary overpopulation issue.
Right. It's imaginary overpopulation. I'm like, okay, you went to China. So
China's overpopulated.
They're totally overpopulated. But yet he's worried about the traumatic forced abortions in China. He didn't see the overpopulation in China. He doesn't think that there's overpopulation.
Now, I can see the fact that, hey, I would not want to be forced into an abortion if I wanted to have a second or a third child. But
right. No.
But you have to understand that these a lot of these people that live in China are not allowed to move off.
I know. I understand that. But number one, this is a guy talking about, again, women's reproduction. Overpopulate women's reproduction. And he's also, I'm like, wow. And then I was looking at it again and I was comparing notes. I was comparing things. And you know what? They were actually, there was an excerpt about traditional gender roles. How do you like that phrase?
Traditional.
That's what they believe in. Traditional gender roles. That's
Hey,
what they
why are
believe
you
in.
why are you out of the kitchen and not pregnant right now?
Thank you. I know.
I'm not even barefoot, so hey.
Gender. Oh, here's another one. Geez, I'm going. Are you kidding me? Wow. So the Russian Federation. I'm looking at my notes. I have chicken scratch. I'm sorry.
Oh, Russia
Don't apologize.
people in prison for whatever reason.
Right. For abortions, women, because they're having abortions, and they're saying that the decreased abortion rate helps the overall maternal mortality rate. Maternal mortality rate.
What the hell's a maternal mortality rate? That's what I want to know.
I tried looking it up and I didn't find anything. I think it's made up bullshit. But this is what I'm saying is they're quoting Russian information about their population and how, abortion or the lack of abortion rights there has helped basically increase the population and helps with the overall maternal mortality, and then goes on to talking about, again, decreasing women's mortality rate after birth or after abortion. I'm like, what are you guys even talking about? None of this was making any sense.
You know what I
None
hear?
of this.
It's based in bullshit, like you said, because if you look at it historically, and I did a little bit of a deeper dive to what we had before, and before we had any of these things, and this goes all the way back into the 1800s, women were still getting abortions. They were just getting them in unsafe, unsanitary conditions. The
Coat hangers.
Right. The dynamic of human nature was the same thing with prohibition. It's been the same thing with drugs, sex. It doesn't matter. People find a way to get what they believe they need. So the consensus was, at the time, was like, listen, if they're going to do this anyway, let's provide a safer, better way to do this to cut down on fatalities. And there's a big dynamic that gets also lost in this. A lot of what Planned Parenthood does is provide mental health support.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of these things and the choices are not easy. It's not something that is a game for a lot of people. It isn't a soundbite or, you know what I mean, some type of, Fox News type of, hey,
Right.
these are people's lives.
When I had my miscarriage,
right.
I was devastated, and they made sure I had counseling to be able to
Yes.
understand and, give me hope and not make me, because I had an irrational fear that I'd never be able to get pregnant again, so on and so forth.
Right.
And
they
helped me through a lot of that.
They counsel the fathers as well.
Yes.
They counsel both. They counsel the fathers as well. And they believe in, gender identity, sexual orientation in different ways. They believe that, not traditional gender roles. Right? So again,
I don't even understand what that is.
Traditional gender role. Women are women, men are men, and women should be in the
Nobody
kitchen.
gets to be anything else. They can't love
Right.
anybody else.
I know what it is conceptually, but there's really if you want to go to traditional gender roles, we'll go all the way back to the days where women were the priestesses and we ran everything. How's
Thank
that for
you.
traditional?
How about that? Yes. Yes. But it was, when I talk about something, I make damn well that I have the facts. Anybody looks up Women's Right to Life or the Right to Life program, you will see it. And a lot of the stuff, their resources, contact the Right to Life or email them or whatever. I was looking at it. There's nothing on there like there is on Planned Parenthood. That is right there. The resources are not right there.
No, because they're not really about that. It's more for the rhetoric. It's more for the dogmatic propaganda.
Yes.
I used one of, because we were joking around about the ruin your childhood stuff. So I pulled a couple of the ones.
Oh my God. I love them.
I have the Addicted to Disappointment, which just basically shows a woman snorting all these gnarly guys, and they're all like, I'm different. And this is really, to some degrees, the core. And I've said this, and a lot of men have said this, and that's why we had Roe versus Wade in place for as long as we did, is that it really was a basic concept that women had the right to make these choices based on their situations. And sometimes maybe that would include their partner. But let's be honest, a lot of times, guys, they check out. You said it yourself. They'll go in, they'll drop a nut, and they'll be like, hey, peace, see you later. It's your problem, not mine. Have a nice day.
It's your problem, not mine. And he's just, you don't want to tie him down. Back in the day, you don't want to tie him down. He's a good guy. Maybe he raped you, but he's got a college degree, and he's got a good future ahead of him. So
we don't want to ruin his life, or just
we don't want to ruin his life just because exactly. Yeah. And by the way, if you would have kept your legs closed, well, he shouldn't have pried his dick between her legs and forced it inside of her. How about that?
I mean, it's been a thing throughout history. Women are left holding the bag 98%, not always, 98% of the time. Sometimes and present company included, men have stepped up to be the single fathers. It happens. Oh yeah, it's out there.
I know. I understand
but that. Again, really has no reflection on yours or any other woman's right to choose what works for you. My world is mine. My choices were mine. I didn't want anybody else telling me what the fuck to do, and why should I tell anybody else what to do? And especially using, your analogy. I don't have a JJ, so what?
And I don't have a Winky, so I can't go and tell you. You know what? Go get a vasectomy.
We can have our opinions, like men can have their opinions, but, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them and they all stink.
Right. So when I see these pro-birthers, men on the side of the road in front of the Planned Parenthood offices, I'm like, dude, did you have a sex change?
Well, I would be more inclined.
Like, dude, do you have a vagina? Have you ever given birth? Have you ever stepped into a Planned Parenthood to actually see what they offer? No. You're just regurgitating bullshit that you heard, and you're a control freak.
I always go to the dark humor analogy when I run into those situations. I'll be like, oh, how's it feel to finally be out of the closet? Or, you know what I mean? Or any number of analogies to, kind of be pointed out that more times than not, and the numbers prove it, especially within the contours of violence. People who are on that extreme end of the scale, the number of violent incidents is ridiculously disproportionate. So, you look at abortion clinic bombings, and murders, and all the violence, and,
of doctors,
the insanity that goes with it.
Where's the right to life there?
Right. And it also correlates further when you look at the statistics of things like domestic abuse and, domestic murder scenarios. Women are more prone to be murdered by a spouse, an ex, or somebody, a male within their circle. And the overwhelming majority of these cases are reflective with extreme religious dogmatic belief systems, be it, honor killings or any number of analogies. So again, like you said, we're all about, the right to life until it's time to stone somebody or drop a fucking bomb, or we want to raise them to be soldiers to send them to some fucking desert somewhere to kill some people. So life
Yes.
only matters as, again, a cherry-picked conversational point
Yeah.
Right.
to say, hey, we don't want to see this. We don't want you to do these things because it makes us uncomfortable. But they're the first ones to shove a pamphlet down your throat and tell you how to live.
Oh my God. Yes, they are. They're the first ones that are out thumping the sidewalks and starting an argument with you about going into a Planned Parenthood to go talk about, oh, I'm pregnant, I want to have this baby, but they automatically assume that you're going in there for an abortion
Yeah.
because you're a woman and you're a woman, and that's all that they do. You know, because didn't you know that they have like a back room there? It's like, you know, it's like a factory. You hop on a table and they give you an abortion, and then, you know.
Oh, it's like that scumbag James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. They basically made up a bullshit video sting where they edited it and piecemealed it to try and pretend that Planned Parenthood, one of their divisions, I think it was Missouri or someplace, was basically selling fetuses out the back door. It was all bullshit.
Yes. It was all bullshit.
They got taken to court. They got found guilty, and the guy can no longer do this stuff. But we don't talk about that narrative, and that was a big,
not at all.
Big talking piece for a couple of years there about, oh, you know, they're selling fetuses, and that's not how it works.
It's not even close in how it works.
It's
oh
not.
My gosh.
But they've got to villainify somebody, and if you're going to villainify somebody, don't do it to somebody who's actually doing good things out there for not just pregnant women, but for young adults, for like you said, women going through menopause. I mean, any of that, they are there to support anything that happens in the reproductive system, from puberty all the way down to the end of the line and mammograms and everything else to support public health on reproductive anything, men or women.
And that's what it is about, public health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other numbers
because they provide some information about abortion. That's all these right to lifers.
Well, it's either it's the morale, right?
That's what they focus on, because that's what, you know,
it's
to
the
get their agenda. It is. That's what they choose.
It's the fear weapon to get people to be like, oh my God, isn't that horrible? Or they use the money thing about, oh, I don't want my tax dollars. But every statistic, every piece of documentation has shown that Planned Parenthood saves the government and everybody else millions upon millions and millions of dollars a year through the Medicaid elements, because it would be ridiculously overpriced with just the way our healthcare system is. So this was actually a good financial choice to provide these services, to get access out there to those who really needed it. So again, if you want to talk about really protecting children, giving women the opportunity to make sure that, you know, those who can and want to carry to term have the support that they need.
Yes.
I mean, and that's the insanity of it.
I know, but they are so affixed and so brainwashed and indoctrinated into believing this, instead of doing the research and actually going in and saying, hey, can you give me more information on your program? And actually seeing what actually goes on there, instead of talking about it without not knowing anything about it.
Well, brainwashed people rarely want to look into the alternative perspectives.
No, I know.
It's the ones who are intelligent that even if they choose to disagree, they will research the alternative perspectives so that they can intelligently talk against them.
Yes.
And that's fine. If you're researching it in order to argue with me, then go for it. But at least you've researched it.
Yeah, good. Because half the time, the people that argue about this they don't research it. They just believe it because it sounds good to them. They don't research it at all. Or they do enough research and where they can twist things around.
Because mommy believed that way, and mommy's mommy believed that way, and mommy's mommy
Yes.
believed that way, so I'm going to
Yes.
believe that
Yeah,
way.
they heard
Yes.
it in a mass somewhere or on a TV
Yes.
show or any number of
Yes.
fucking analogies, and it
Yes.
doesn't really hold water in reality because, again, we're talking about people's lives. And again, the simple choice that we're all supposed to have. I mean, again, I've made this joke before, but it's kind of not a joke. Men would lose their fucking minds if somebody somewhere were to say, well, listen, we're going to have to monitor your dick now, and you're going to
Yes.
have restrictions. And
Yeah, you're going to have a vasectomy
well, not even
at
just
the
so much
age of
you're,
puberty.
here's some saltpeter. You're not, we're not
Yeah.
going to let you actually procreate without a
No.
permit. You're not allowed to fuck
Yes.
anymore.
Okay.
But guys would
Yeah.
they would lose their minds. You can't take my right away to do what I
Right.
want with my dick.
That's exactly it. And unfortunately, it's been like this forever. And when women are fighting back and saying, no, we're done with this, they get scared. Why? Real men are not afraid of strong, real women.
No.
They're not.
No, that's a great point.
Okay.
Great point.
Little boys, however, are.
Yes.
Little fuck boy.
Now I'm going to bring
Little
up something,
fuckboys.
Estelle, which for those who don't know, that's Mama Wolf right there. That's Wolf's mama, Estelle. She brought up, that it's unsafe for people to get abortions when it's illegal for those that don't have money. Those that have money have always been able to get
Yes.
the abortions, whether they were legal or not,
course.
in safe ways. So
Politicians, girlfriends,
Yes.
mistresses.
Yes. So what this
Rich
whole thing
men's-
about is
yes.
keeping our cheap labor supply so that we
Yes.
can teach people, let's work for 50 years so you can get a gold watch.
And we get to build up the population even more so we can provide more, soldiers for our for the armies and provide, labor and workers. And it's not about
Yeah,
the
we're
child.
not going
It's
to throw
about-
away the unborn life, but we'll wait for them to be born, then we'll throw away their
Yes.
lives.
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. I threw up the
And that's
graphic.
what it's about.
I threw up the graphic that I had used on the social media. It's a quote from Susan B. Anthony. This goes back
Yes.
to 1872, so over 150 years ago. And even then,
Before women had the right to vote.
they even had the right to
Right?
vote or anything.
Yes,
But
buy a house.
and she said it, and I think that this sums it up. No self-respecting woman should wish or work for the success of a party that ignores her sex.
Yes.
Boom. Simple.
But they're there.
Well, I mean, again, it goes back to the conditioning and the brainwashing and the
Yes.
dogma.
Yes.
Some of this is framed in the narrative, as you said, the traditional roles.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And especially within, religious communities and certain cultural dynamics. Like you look at Italians, like you and I are Italian.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's okay for a guy to have a gamba, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but if a
It's
woman
okay
stepped
for-
out, right? She
Then
was
she's a whore.
right?
Yeah.
She's a slut. She's a whore.
Double standards.
Double standards. Always. Oh, my gosh. I was brought up. I love my Italian heritage. Love being Italian. I was brought up by my father and my three brothers. Not brought up, but I lived with them, and I was my father and three brothers, and I'm the only girl and the youngest. That was fun.
That explains why you're so feisty. And one of the
Yes.
reasons I really love you is because you are that feisty. You tell Otivia
Because-
anything that gets her going, and
Listen, I seen what happened with my mother
mm-hmm.
and how she was treated. I thought, I am not, will not allow this to happen to me. Well, it did. It did happen.
It's conditioning elements. That's what we learn.
It did happen. Oh, yes.
but
And then I
you-
realized, holy crap.
You coming out of that.
No.
Would you like to tell us a little of your story of how you did come out of that?
Oh, well, which part?
Anything you want
Whatever
to
part
tell.
you want to share. Because I'm going to be honest, there are times when you scare the living shit out of me. And I say that with all love. You have a fire
Okay.
that erupts in your eyes when somebody has gone off the rails or they've said some stupid fucking shit or they've put you in a position. I know that you have been through enough in your life that you've reached a point you're like, no fucks are given anymore. If you cross particular lines,
Yeah, my fucks are gone.
yeah, they're all fucking gone.
Have no fucks. They're, my give a damn's busted and all
And
that
it's
shit.
relevant to point out that you are a Leo.
Well, yeah, I am a Leo. I am.
We
But-
love that lioness in you, girl.
Because life happens, right? I was born into a family of mainly males, Italian males, but I love my Italian heritage. I love my Italian men. I just love being Italian anyways. But I was raised, for a while, I did go away. My aunt, Sister Magdalene, she was a nun. I loved her. She took me in from the age of 4 to the age of 8. I lived in the convent with her because my father, couldn't take care of me, I guess. My mother was mentally ill. She was an abused wife. I'm just going to say it out front. My father, I love him to death. Rest his soul. My mom's soul. My mom was an abused wife.
That takes courage. Thank you for sharing.
Okay. She was an abused wife. She loved my father so much. But whatever happened, I ended up living with my aunt, who was Mother Superior in the St. Lucie Filippini, whatever you want to call it.
Convent.
And yeah,
Abbey.
the convent.
Abbey.
They're the St. Lucie Filippini order. And so I moved to a couple different convents with her because she was Mother Superior. So we lived in Pennsylvania, we lived in Connecticut, but the one I remember most was living in Westerly, Rhode Island, with her and a few other women, nuns. And you know what? I absolutely loved it there. I was a young girl. My aunt took very good care of me. The other nuns took very good care of me. I loved it. But then my family wanted me back. So I came back. And then all hell broke loose.
Hmm.
I could get into this at another time, but my mom was abused. My mom was sent to the state hospital several times. My father was an alcoholic. My father abused me. I loved him. I love him. I made my amends with him. I took care of him as he got older. But there's a whole big story behind all of this.
There's collateral damage that comes along the way with this kind of stuff.
And then I swore I would never, ever, ever get in a situation like this, like my mom did. I would never have a man abuse me. I would never have. And it happened. It happened. I have been married a few times, and I've been divorced a few times. And there's reasons for that. But the second marriage was very, very bad and very, very abusive. The only one good thing that came out of that marriage was my son, Anthony.
Brother Tony, is he watching right now?
I don't know. He's out.
Or is he playing video games?
He's playing video games. In my first marriage, things happen. And the best thing that came out of that was my daughter. Okay.
And she is a beautiful daughter who is
She
currently
is.
pregnant with her own daughter.
Yes. I'm going to
Had
have
to
a
share
baby
some-
granddaughter.
Yay.
Yes. I want to have a granddaughter. I'm so excited.
So there's the reality, and I want to point this out real quick because I think it gets lost in the mix. You believe in the right to choose and everything goes along with it,
Yes.
but you still support the dynamics of life, the beauty of family and childbirth and stuff.
Yes.
So you are a parent. You're not like, you're not like
No.
one of these Nazi feminists who's never had a child and be like, well,
No,
I can talk
I've
about
had-
this, but you have experienced it
No.
from both ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
Mhm.
I love my kids. My kids are my life. Both my kids are my life. And
They
they're
are.
both adults, but they will always be my life.
They're always going to be your kids. Always, always.
And they'll always be my kids. But I taught my daughter and I taught my son from day one, you need to respect others. You got to
Yeah.
respect and love one another and love each other. You could have differences, but don't abuse each other.
Well,
don't
You've
don't
worked
go
to break
out
the-
and Don't go out and, just because, just love each other.
Don't
All I
ban
ever
it.
wanted was a close family because I didn't really have that growing up. But not to get too psychological and all that shit, but yeah, I got tired of being told what I could and couldn't do. I was forced to stay in my house. I couldn't even use the phone as a young girl because my father, we didn't have call waiting back then.
Mm-hmm.
I had to look out the window to make sure he wasn't pulling in the driveway for me to talk on the phone. I had to make sure. Okay, things like that, just that control, that dynamic of control.
Well, women were seen, not heard.
Right. And like I said, I loved my father. He was a World War II vet. We made our amends. I took care of him as he got sick and he got older. I loved my dad no matter what. And I understand where his generational trauma. Okay. And he learned from his father how to treat women and so on and so forth. My great-grandfather, my grandfather, this is all learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
But as the youngest of the family, I seen what was going on with the men in the family and the women in the family. And I said, I will never have this happen to me. It did, but it took me a long time to get out.
How did you find your strength?
How did I find my strength?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my children, my kids were a lot of my strength. I knew they needed me here. I just did it. I can't explain, but I also found Wicca. That's when I found the Wiccan religion and pagan religion when I was going through my really toughest times with my son's father. I should say sperm donor, but whatever.
No, I like that. Sperm donor.
He's my ex-husband. He's my ex-husband. Thank God.
For a damn good reason.
My son wants nothing to do with him. He made that decision a few years ago for reasons.
Damn good reasons, in my opinion, that he made that choice.
Yeah.
Listen, you made a great point about the generational dynamics. You have broken the cycle.
I broke the cycle.
To the best of your ability within the generational dynamics, because we all get caught in it. We think a person is, and we'll kind of jump on that on the back end because it segues into another thing I wanted to kind of drag you into that I know that you're very vocal and very passionate about. But this is something, again, is learned behavior. It is passed down generationally. Okay. And it's not just reflective of, Planned Parenthood or abortion rights or anything. It is an incredibly deep, wide spectrum of a simple aspect, what you called respect for women, for their feelings, for their thoughts, for their choices, their beliefs. Because that was one of the things, and I know you shared this before in our conversations, that for many years you were just dismissed. You're being emotional. You're crazy. You're this. You're overreacting.
Yes. Okay, yes, I was called crazy. I was called crazy in custody battle. He tried to use my mental health, which I was depressed and I was anxiety, and because I was being abused, and flashbacks of my mom having to go through the same thing. Yeah, of course. And I swore, I was not going to give in. I was not going to allow this to kill me. I wasn't.
Good.
And I didn't.
Because I would have missed out on one of the best friendships I've had in a long time.
I swore I wasn't going to ever. And I didn't. And here I am. And the motherfucker that I'm talking about, if you're listening and you know who you are, Tony's father, fuck you. I got a house on the lake. My son's healthy. My son is happy. And you can go fuck yourself. Thank you.
And you got a pack of wolves that got your back. Some of us run in some darker corners. We're not afraid to be like, oh, you want to play like this?
But the
we can
double
play that way.
standards, the double standards of, the woman has to obey the man because that's in some belief systems, and the woman has to be subservient. And no. That's no. And that's where some of these belief systems come from.
Again, my mother called it. It's control. It's a control mechanism. It's nothing more than a control mechanism that was born out of somebody's ass at some point. They put it in a fucking book and then gave it to somebody else, and they're like, "Hey, this is a great idea. I can get her to do whatever the fuck I want."
Women were taught.
Control is out of what? What's control? Why do people need to control? Because of fear.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Hate
not wrong
because
there.
of fear.
Well, women were
Because of
taught for
their
a long time that our
fearful.
ultimate goal was to be wives.
Appropriate.
We were to be
And
wives,
mothers.
to procreate, to be wives and mothers, and we were only good wives if we were able to bear a man a son
Right.
to carry on his legacy, because the legacy could not be carried on through the female line.
Yes,
Right,
You're
which-
good for humping.
Yeah.
We're great. So here's the deal. The man decides
Everything.
the sex of the baby. Right.
They didn't know that back in the day, and they blamed the woman.
Yes,
No.
everything's blamed on the woman.
I mean,
so
King Henry VIII, he's a perfect example of that.
oh yeah, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
So
Let's
Yeah,
just behead people
I'm-
until we get a boy.
I'm trying to. I taught my son, I taught my daughter. They're both adults now. I'm still teaching my son because he's got a lot of deep-seated learned behavior from his abusive
Let's be
father.
honest. He's got trauma, and that trauma
And he
unfortunately
has
doesn't
trauma.
translate. Right.
Mm-hmm.
No. And I'm a woman. So therefore, but he is a wonderful young man.
Yes.
And my daughter's a beautiful young woman. She's smart,
Yes.
intelligent, and strong. And, she's got her mama's tenacity.
Fire,
And
fire.
that's how I survived. I don't know. When people ask, how did I survive all of that? I just did.
We're
I
strong
pushed
because we
myself
have
through.
to be.
We have to be strong. We don't have a choice. As women, we don't have a choice. Because if we're not strong, our children are in danger. Our lives are in danger. The whole system goes to hell
Well,
in a handbag.
the whole system is designed around a lot of illusions and constructs. Women are supposed to look a particular way. They're supposed to
Yes.
dress a particular way. They're supposed to act
Too
a
fat,
particular way.
too skinny,
Right,
too blonde,
right.
too,
Your tits
dumb
aren't big enough.
blondes.
All these things.
If you're exactly. And we've had to deal with that on top of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
then
now they're
and then once
trying
you have
to
children,
control-
right? And then it automatically starts to go the other way. Now, all of a sudden, you're no good. As my mother
Right.
said, women were property, plain and
Mhm.
simple. That's
Yes.
what the narrative has been.
And I think some of these young girls too, and I really want to help a lot of these young girls understand that it's not okay. It's not okay, and it's not cute, and they don't love you when they call you 10 million times to see where you're fucking at.
Mm-hmm.
And they get mad when you don't pick up the phone or text them right away. Or when they tell you, oh, don't wear that, don't wear this. All about control. And now we have the government, telling us women, I should say the Supreme Court, you don't have control, you don't have bodily autonomy over your own body.
I shouldn't have
'Cause
to say that.
Because we don't know any better. We don't have the understanding of our own bodies. A man knows more. The Supreme Court knows about our bodies more than, we do.
But women haven't been buying into it, and I think that this is really
Some women do.
Some women do.
But
They still do.
that is the carryover. That is the generational
That is
element.
generational element. Exactly.
but
That's
as
the
a man-
generational.
I'm seeing
trauma.
more women like you, Otivia, like Heather Salome, like Elizabeth Brown, like Shia, like a lot of people. And, my mother was, that core example. She went through it the year she did it. to protect her children until it got to the point
Yes.
where she was just like, you know what, I can't fucking do this. I'm gone.
That's what I went with
I
Tony.
had to learn. I had to work through all the shitty dynamics that my father was. My brother Chris Miller knows because he knew my father. And my father was a predator. He was an alcoholic. And, you know, don't get me wrong. He's dead. I'm not as kind as you when it comes to him. Like, burn in hell, motherfucker. You know what I mean? But
Your fucking face.
Well, I kind of, you know,
but it,
like
it
I said,
is
I don't
true.
believe in
It is
heaven or
passed on.
hell. I believe in other things. I believe in the universe, and I believe in a lot of other things. But I believe in karma for sure.
I believe in dreams and
I've
nightmares.
seen
I
it
think we
happen.
get wrapped into it. I believe in like the
Yeah.
whole Sandman type
Yeah.
of deal. You know, you create your energy,
You
and
do.
depending upon that energy, that's what you're going to marinate in for the rest of fucking
Well,
eternity. So,
Exactly. So I hope so for certain people.
no, but listen, it's a good trend because again,
You know?
as a man, I'm seeing it. I see it in Diane. I see it in a lot of the women. And, you know, you made an analogy about the difference between men and little fuckboys.
Yeah.
I'm actually more comfortable in the dynamic around that than the kind of one-dimensional, you know, Barbie doll. You know what I mean? It's phony, and it really it's distasteful in a lot
Real
of ways.
men are not
It's an-
intimidated by strong women.
Right. And, you know, women, they have bellies and they have booties and they have boobs and they have stretch marks and they have scars. Why? We gave birth. Some of us did give birth. We have that, but we're put down for it.
I shouldn't have to say this
We're
in
put
this day.
down. Or, you know what? Here's the deal. We have stretch marks, not because we had a child, but because of hereditary.
Mm-hmm.
Our mothers, our grandmothers had stretch marks. And we gain and we lose weight. So that's what happens as well. So there's a combination platter. But we're told what is appropriate for society and what's not. What's in, what's out. They purposely do that to boggle our fucking minds.
Well, that's real.
This year-
That's true illusion magic. You create this illusion that says, you know, it isn't real unless it looks like this, or
Right.
any number of analogies.
And what looks
I made
like...
a joke about like Jersey Shore. You know, they depicted Italian.
They weren't even Italian.
I know, but they depicted it as, you know, the guys who go
Yeah.
out and be like, yeah,
Total
you know,
stereotypical.
she's a grenade, and you know, she's a this, and it was demeaning, and it really
Yeah.
creates a false narrative because that's not how the real world works.
No,
It really
although my
isn't.
daughter really did look like Snooki when she was younger, and everybody used to call her Snooki. Yes,
That's funny. But what,
yes, and
what
she
I,
had Snooki attitude too. So Snooki was, you know, Snooki. But anyways,
I know that this is about to set you off, OT, but this is something I really want to say, and it's gonna and I'll let you carry it on because as soon as I say it, it's gonna set you off. But I shouldn't have to say this in this day and age, but I'm going to. Women are people too.
really,
Yeah, really.
we're not pets. We're not chattel.
No, and we're not
No
property.
shit, we're not property.
No.
Wow,
We're people too, and
we're
we have
people
brains.
too. Oh my God, we have big brains too.
See, I didn't get that memo.
Well, most men either got it and disregarded it.
I like big brains, and I cannot lie.
Yes.
No, listen, it's a
Because a
conditioning.
woman can have, hey, here's one for you. Women can have looks and intelligence all at the same time. How about that? Isn't that a shocker for men?
But it's
men.
but it's also the
Yes.
warped narrative
And
of
women.
what defines real beauty. You see
And
where I'm
women.
going?
Guess
That's
what, women?
part of it.
Guess what, women? You don't have to play the stupid role
No.
in order to get a man.
No.
Again, you got fuck boys who like women that they feel are beneath them. But in fact, real men love
Real
and
women.
prefer intelligent, real women that speak their minds and stand up for other women and stand up for themselves and voice their opinions.
I'll take it
Real
one step.
men.
I'll take it even one step further. Women and men too. You do not
Yes.
need a partner to complete you.
No, you do not. It's nice to find
Yeah.
somebody that is, your other half or whatever, but no, you don't need another person. You don't need another person to complete you.
No, you don't.
No,
At all.
but you can be better, you can be stronger, and you
Yes.
can.
Community makes us better,
Right.
and we can
Strength
when
in
we
numbers.
enter into a good partnership. That's great, but you
Yes.
don't have to stay with somebody that's going to gaslight you, put you down, abuse you
Right.
mentally, physically, or emotionally, or
Right.
make you
Or
somehow
sexually.
feel less than.
Yes.
You do
Sexually.
not deserve to feel less than. Nobody does, male, female, or any chosen gender in between.
Here's a fact, because I used to work as a domestic violence court advocate here in the Hall of Justice.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I was a domestic violence court advocate here at the Hall of Justice here in Exchange Street here in Rochester, New York.
Wow.
It was after I got out of my abusive marriage. I decided to take my anger and my strength and everything else that I had and help other women and men get orders of protection and help them with resources and, counseling.
Support, just basic support, really. Yeah.
Yes. And, some of these guys just didn't get it when, order of protection means you need to stay the fuck away from her.
Mhm.
That means stay the fuck away from her. But
Well, listen, talking about statistics, we both know that 93.6% of the time, okay, that it takes at least 3, if not more, instances.
9.
Is it 9 now?
It was 9 between at that time, it was like between 3 and 9 times.
And that's
Before
an
she
insane
finally-
number.
Before they finally leave. And I'm saying they because there's men out there that are abused as well. But the statistics are skewed because men don't normally like to report it because of the stigma. Oh, you let a woman beat you up.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen
No,
some nasty
seen it.
stuff.
And I've experienced it. I got taken to jail.
Yes.
My brother Chris Miller will remember this because he had to come bail my fucking ass out. But quite literally, when my son was about 4 years old, she was a drug addict and an alcoholic, and she just went on one of those crazy binges. So I had already with the school, gotten the restraining order dynamic that, hey, until you get cleaned up, you can't come here. So what she did is she came to the house and started smacking herself in the face and then called the cops.
Yep.
And the cops are like, well, I can't prove anything. So either you guys work it out or walk away. She insisted and we both got taken away to fucking jail.
Yeah, you both
and
did.
I had to get my buddy Chris Miller, and he's in the chat. He's like, yep, I was there. He had to come down and bail me out. Now, luckily, we had already planned things with my kid, and Chris remembers these days that my son knew that he would go someplace safe. Like, he didn't want anything to fucking do with her. So he would go to a neighbor's house. Corey, his lifelong, buddy / brother, lived a couple houses down. So we always had the alternative plans in case she showed up to pull one of these stunts. But you're right.
Right.
I was basically laughed at when I tried to get some response because I'm like, listen, she's a drugged out fucking lunatic. And
but because you were a man.
I wouldn't put my hands. See, that's the other thing.
Right.
I wouldn't do, and a lot of people have suggested, well, just like beat the fucking shit out of her. And I'm just like, no, I can't do that. I grew up, I saw what that shit was. I had a code.
Right.
Better for worse or whatever you want to call it. I couldn't do that. That's how we were. And at the time, Chris Miller was my sponsor. I was in recovery because I had followed my father's pattern. I had I had become an alcoholic. I had become some kind of fucking shadow of a person in my younger days until I finally, figured out. And my mother also went through recovery as well. It took a long time to heal the family from those elements. You know, that type of collateral damage doesn't just, you know, like a light switch,
It just
change
doesn't
overnight.
go away.
Right, yeah.
It may not go away forever, but you can help by going, well, for me, therapy has helped and other things have helped get me through to the other side. But as working there empowered me, because I was empowering other people and helping them become safe with the other court advocates. And that was my favorite job in the world. After everything that I have done, that was my favorite job in the world. But there was a misunderstanding, and I guess what I was trying to get to too, because I told him I got squirrel brain. Men had the right to rape their wives until about 2007, a law, when I was working there, finally passed that a husband can be charged with raping their wives.
Yeah. It goes back to body autonomy.
2007.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Why in the fuck and hell did it take that goddamn long, that long to realize when a woman says no, it's no.
Because
it doesn't mean yes.
It would force a line of accountability. That's what happened with the Me Too movement.
Because the husband has their rights and the woman has her wifely duties to their husband. That's what all this was about, all these decades and all these centuries and all this time. Until 2007.
We should have the same body autonomy men do.
Oh, listen.
We should, but we
doesn't look
don't.
Good for guys out there. Listen.
But the guys that are pushing this agenda are the control freaks. And the women that are pushing this agenda are indoctrinated and brainwashed into thinking that everything's okay. My place is to be subservient to my husband or a man. Because I'm sorry. Y'all can, tell me go fuck myself. But any woman that could sit there and degrade another woman for wanting to choose what she wants to do with her own body has some severe motherfucking issues.
You know what? We're going to take a break. I'm going to play a couple of tracks, and I think we're going to come back and we're going to pick up on that. And I also want to get into a couple other. You still got time to hang with us? You good, sister?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'm here.
I'm gonna put some music in real quick. I'm gonna give you a chance to run to the bathroom, get something to drink, or anything that you want in between. But here's a little. This is a track that Gwen Strang from Frail wrote about this very type of dynamic. It's called Skin and Sorrow. So I'm going to play this, give everybody a couple of minutes, and then we'll be back to continue it.